Buckle up, sports fanatics. This is the Sports Chasers Podcast, your HQ for in-depth sports talk. Join host Kevin L. Warren and crew as they dissect the hottest stories, ignite debates, and bring you closer to the action. From locker room whispers to expert takes, we cover it all. It's game time, so strap in and grab a drink. The Sports Chasers Podcast starts right now.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's happening, everybody? It's another edition of the Sports Chasers Podcast. Coming to you, we're not live, but we are direct. We're here taping another esports episode here, man. Since you guys kind of tuned into the shorts and into the actual video, we decided to do another esports edition. But we got a lot of engagement for the Call of Duty stuff. I play Call of Duty, but I will tell you tonight, I am not the expert. I'm just here to host. But I got the experts here tonight, man. Hey, let's meet the crew. We got Dan K, the hockey dude. Dan, what's up? Dan is our resident expert in Call of Duty and all that stuff. If you heard him a couple weeks ago when he went off on you damn cheaters out there. Hey, you cheaters, check this out. Stop your damn cheating on Call of Duty, man. Why don't you just play straight up, you punks? Dan, what's up? I'm sorry for stealing your thunder.
No, you're good, bro. How's everything going? Doing well?
Bro, I'm good. I'm doing well, man. I'm here to talk some esports with you. Well, you're here to break it down. They had the championships this past weekend. So you and our special guest tonight will absolutely break it down, man. Speaking of special guests, this gentleman here is no special guest to the show. He chimes in every Thursday. He hangs in with us through the comments, man. Good friend of mine, man. We used to work together. My main man, Mr. VLAC. He loves Call of Duty. Him and Dan play all the time. Mr. VLAC, what's going on, bro? Let me give my man VLAC some applause here. Hold on, let me find some applause for him. Here we go. Here's some applause. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
VLAC, what's happening, bro? How are you tonight, man?
Not much, man. Not much.
That's good, man. I'm glad. Man, I'm doing all right, man. I'm glad you was able to come on and talk about esports. I know that's your lane. You got your banner in the back. You're ready to go. Like I said, I'm a novice to this. I play Call of Duty, but I don't play like these guys. These guys will absolutely break it down. The championships. I'm just going to set it up, and I'm going to get out the way here. We'll talk about the championships. The 2024 Call of Duty League Championship this past weekend on July 18th through the 21st. It was in Allen, Texas, at the Credit Union of Texas Event Center. Hey, this is a big thing. According to the website, everything's on the line. The money, the glory, and the championship trophy, with a season full of storylines, roster changes, and epic battles. You can't afford to miss this larger-than-life weekend. Hey, and they even had tickets. General admission was on Thursday was $29. Friday it went up to $49. Saturday was $79, and championship Sunday was $79. And then you had 4-day reserved. You can pay $229, and then they had $299. All right, so it's definitely was a thing. Let me just read some of the qualifications. The challenges finals. Challenges it says challenges is back at champs. Culminating the challenges season in a 16-team finale. Qualifications will work similarly to last year, with 10 teams qualifying based on overall challenger points earned throughout the season. And then they go through their little statistics that I don't know of. Dan and VLAC will explain that. And 6 teams battling through Last Chance qualifiers. Last Chance qualifiers will take place on July 6 and 7. Challenges finals will return to Call of Duty main stage on Sunday prior to the Call of Duty League Championship, man. So that's it from me. I'm going to get out the way. I might have some questions from here to there, but I'll give it to Dan and VLAC. Dan, take it away, bro.
All right. So what you were just describing was the Challenger Series. So that's kind of like, I don't know, what would you say, Lackey, like the minor leagues, where they don't,
baseball, something like that.
Yeah, they don't get paid near what the guys in the professional get paid.
So break that down. So how much do these guys get paid, if anything, is a ballpark, if you're talking about getting paid as far as being professionals when it comes to this esports stuff?
I don't know. What would you say? Like maybe 45, 50? Plus their housing's taken care of probably.
You talking about the challengers?
Yeah.
I think minimum $60,000. So that's per player, and then they pay for their housing, so travel and all the expenses. So,
but they do
that.
that.
The salaries can go up to, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so like the challengers is kind of like the minor leagues where, you know, guys go to play to like either reinvent themselves, bring their, you know, guys that were in the league that got dropped, you know, yada yada, and they go in there and they compete in there to try to, you know, when other teams in the professional league struggle, that they can get called up. But they had that tournament kind of a little bit early, and then had the finals the same day as the Call of Duty League. So like the Call of Duty League has 12 teams for the league, but in the championship, they only take the top 8. So if you're the bottom 4, you don't get to go. So that's kind of where this tournament was. Top 8 teams, you know, round robin, double elimination, I think it is what they call it, for champs.
Yep.
So explain to that audience, how, if you want to be a esports professional, what do you have to do? Of course, we all know you got to play the game and be damn good at it. What things does a person have to get, you know, do? Like, you know, you have the average basketball or professional athlete, you know, play hockey, basketball, baseball, football, you know, they train to that. What do an esports guy wanting to do the Call of Duty League and be a professional at, what do they have to do, gentlemen?
I'll let you take that, like.
Like, you're going to give us $5?
I mean, a lot of work. They got to kind of grind like a,
No, go ahead. You were saying? Go ahead.
They got to grind the challenger scene. Primarily, they go in through and story. That's how a lot of them really try to prove themselves. That's one of the bigger, harder game modes. They're going to it's a best of 11. 2 teams, one's attacking, one's defending. The attacking team is trying to either eliminate the team or plant a bomb and have it go off. The other team's, of course, defending and trying to defuse the bomb if it is planted. A lot of players mainly come through that because it's a lot harder scene to get in through. A lot more grinding, a lot more strategic. I don't really know what you compare that to gaming, other games-wise, like Risk or something like that. A lot of different methods, a lot of different things that they can do to get there. But it takes a lot of the players mainly come up through that scene throughout history. That's how they made their way. Like the likes of Dashi, Varsity, and a whole bunch of others have been grinding for years. Placer, some of the big top names. That's how they really got in, was coming through the S&D scene.
Okay. Dan?
I would say too, like, you know, a lot of aspiring players, you know, they have open brackets at, you know, some of these tournaments, you know, and whatnot. Well, let's be real. So since COVID, they all went to online and only played majors in person. So that kind of curtailed a lot of it, because it used to be before the CDL, they would have different places they would go and have like open bracket tourneys. So a challengers team could bump their way into the professional ranks at that tournament to play for the championship or get into that part of the tournament. But once COVID hit, everything went online. So, you know, a lot of guys in the past, they would get in, you know, the open brackets, make a name for themselves, try to get on challengers teams, and then, you know, hopefully make a name there and be able to bump up to the professional ranks. And then, you know, then there's other people like Shotzi that just is insane at FPS, you know, games, you know, and he goes and wins, you know, Halo and just makes jump right to Call of Duty. So there's different avenues, but.
So wait a minute. You can jump from another game and platform and go to something else? How does that work?
you're really fucking good. The kid's insane, dude.
Yeah. If you're top notch in that, yeah, if you're top notch in that one game, it can really transition over. The main one that did that was Formal, and he was known as the best first person shooter. He's gone from Halo to Call of Duty, back to Halo. He won champs in both He was the first one ever to do it.
Wow. So do they have? So they have teams, and I'm taking they have singles tournaments, I guess like tennis, so to speak, where they have individuals vie for championships. Am I correct?
It's all team based.
Oh, it's all team based. All right. So
teams of 4.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah. So that's some ways that you can get into making it into the league. And, they call it roster mania every year because in the off season, everybody's trying to make their team better. And, there are some teams in the league that have a good foundation, good fan base, and, they can pretty much pick and choose who they want, like the top 4 teams, Optic, the Subliners, Faze, Ultra, Toronto Ultra. So, when it comes to roster mania, these guys can pick and choose or try to draw top talent to their teams, where some of these other teams really don't have the draw. I think like you would agree with that, like the Legion or the Vegas, your Carolina team, your Bostons, your Seattles, Miami, kind of
LA Gorillas.
Yeah, that's another one.
Wow, this is fascinating to me because I knew it was deep, but I didn't know. Like Dan was talking about, fan base. So how does one just start rooting for? Could I see who won the team from Texas?
Optic.
Optic, yes. Optic. It was a
Optic Texas.
Okay, and it's a team of 4, right? So you said something about making the team better. So I mean, is there like a free agency pool? I mean, do they cut?
Pretty much.
Really?
Yep. That's what they call roster mania. So like the way they do their contracts is some people get 2+1, meaning the first 2 years they're guaranteed, and then that third one it's an option whether the team wants to pick you up or let you go. And then you got your 1-and-1s, which is kind of the same thing, a 1-year contract with an option at the end of that year. And then there's other ones where they're just basically for the year. So every year, like right now, it's a little different this year because I believe it's the World Cup in Saudi that they got this year that they're going to play at here in about a month or so. So, and I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that. I didn't even know they were playing that until recently.
There's a World Cup to this. Wow.
So, depending on
brand new.
Yeah. So depending on how that goes, some teams aren't going to make a lot of changes. Some teams will make some changes, and it might not be the same teams that come back for the CDL next year, the same players. It's just probably for this tournament.
Gotcha.
But it's kind of like I think the CDL format where it's like double elimination.
I got it pulled up right here. This is Esports Illustrated from, I guess, Sports Illustrated from Charlie Carter. He said this 2 days ago. The Esports World Cup kicked off around 4 weeks ago now, and the action has been incredible, from League of Legends to Call of Duty, Warzone to Counter-Strike, to some of the biggest fan bases and best players in the world had completed in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. However, one of the most exciting events is still to come, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 tournament. But how does it all work, and who actually is competing? And then he says the format is teams will split into 4 groups of 4. Each group competes in double elimination, best of 5 bracket, with the top 2 advancing to the playoffs. The 8 playoff teams compete in a single elimination best of 5 bracket. The grand finale will be the best of 7. And then they break down the teams: 100 Thieves, Atlanta, Faze, the Boston Breach, Carolina Royal Ravens, Cloud9, G2 Sports, Optic Gaming, Seattle Surge, Team Heretics, Toronto Ultra, Vegas Legion, Lori, Gaming, Clutch Ryan, X War, FC Black, DMIT Brooklyn, Team Falcons, and that's it. So I guess, is this like every 4 years, like the World Cup in soccer? I mean, I'm just asking. I don't know.
I think this is the first.
Hold on.
This is the first time they've actually done this.
First one. Okay. Yeah. I know somebody's going to say it. It's like this guy doesn't know
what
anything.
They haven't done it in the past before.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just saying for the clips persons, because somebody's going to say, hey, this black guy doesn't know anything. I told you all fucking ready. I don't know everything. So about this e-gaming. So, but somebody's going to say something, and that's fine. Anyway, so how long does the season last here? As far as from the regular season to the championships, how long does the regular season start? I'll ask Lackey.
Typically, it starts in January and runs all the way to July. They do at least 4 majors. Now, it changes as of late, depending on who's hosting it. So they do at least 4 majors, and they have the final championship in July.
Okay.
And we're gonna get it. We'll get into those majors and such and the champs here in just a minute.
So one of the questions, I mean, you guys been to a tournament. I would love to go with you guys. I would like to see how it is. How do guys handle like their coordination and high pressure moments in games? Would do guys freak out? Do guys, get the Eminem song? They get their palms get sweaty, so to speak. In y'all guys' opinion, what do y'all think about that question?
I mean, I would say like when we went to the thing and we went to Raleigh, what was it, 2 years ago? It was the opening tournament or whatever.
Mm-hmm. A year ago.
Like, yeah, they got like white noise that they play in the headsets, and then they have the actual smaller headsets for their comms. So not really a lot. Like when they go to convention centers, it's usually a stage here and a stage on the other side, like facing the crowd. So it's different than what they did for the champs this year, which was absolutely fucking unbelievable. That needs to be the staple. They need to go to places like that every tournament or every major, because they had them, facing face to face. The Jumbotron above them showed the gameplay all 4 corners, so everybody in the arena could see. And by looking at the arena that they played in Allen, Texas, it wasn't a high ceiling building. Like you had the Jumbotron, and like 10 feet up from that, you had the roof. So all the noise was condensed into the actual stadium. And from watching the few videos that I've watched on YouTube that Optic did, and some other people, like I think it was Zuma and them, the place was absolutely bonkers loud. Like the stage was shaking. It was so loud. So the way they did it this year, champs, was awesome. Mm-hmm. I know there's some backlash of, who threw the tournament and et cetera, et cetera. We'll get into that in just a little bit. But by far, that was the best champs that I've watched since, I started actually paying attention. World War II?
Since what you said,
World War started II? World War II, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to
yeah, I think so.
So I got it muted for, I don't know if you guys can see it, but they did show just an overlay where I'll go back a little bit then of what you was talking about how, and I got it muted so we don't get flagged.
That's Shotzi, and the one on the right's Pred, and then Dashy's on his far right.
The place was packed.
Oh yeah, and they all had these armbands, and I think they would display the color of the team that won the map.
So they go to the setup you was talking about. I stopped it.
We're watching baseball.
Yeah.
So they interviewed some of the players afterwards, and all the players really enjoyed it because you had the crowd as close as they can be to the stage, and they were able to. The best part is they get to stand up and talk trash to each other after each match, and they can do it right across instead of having to sit here and look to the side. No, you're right there in front of me. I'm going to talk trash to you. You're straight up dog water and everything else.
So this is what you were talking about, Dan. The setup right there.
Yes, this is absolutely awesome. If you've been to an event at a convention center, I would have loved to have been at like that venue, because that right there is like intimate, and like Lackey was saying, like I only got to watch a few of these games live because I worked that weekend, but I did watch. I think it was Miami and Seattle, and the one kid that plays for Miami, Vickle, like the streamers that me and Lackey watch, he would play. That's when they had rank first come out. What was that? It was Bremberg Hotel. That was what, MW19?
Yeah. No, that was last year. MW2.
But we watched him on there. And, nice kid. He was always, really respectful, and all that stuff. Good kid. And to see him get up and scream at the other team, "You're a fucking dog shit," and just point at the guy across the stage. Yeah. See, that's the shit that like gets people going. And then the whole, what was it? Toronto played. No, they played Faze. And so just a little backstory. So Scrappy, what's the dude's name from the little like mink that was in the cartoon? No, in the cartoon movie with the Ray Romano's the big mammoth. Oh, I can't think of the movie. But he looks like the John Leguizamo's character.
Ice Age. That's what you're talking about?
Yes. But he's like the little mink with the long neck. That's Scrappy. and then you got Draza that's on Faze. And they don't get along. They like most of these people talk shit, and it's just when they're playing the game. As soon as they walk off stage, no harm, no foul. We're cool. These two don't like each other. It got so bad that the girlfriends started getting into it. And I thought it was fucking awesome on the broadcast that they put both of their girlfriends up on the Jumbotron above where they were sitting. And you could just see them back. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you, bitch. Awesome. It was like WWE. And I was like, that's I'm not sure which one saw what was going on, but pretty much Draza was chalked after that. But that like that kind of shit, like that's what's interesting and fun about going to these events and watching these events is seeing the passion these guys play with. So I'm just gonna say this. Everybody thinks, oh man, Optic, each one of those players won $200,000 for winning this event. Okay. So I think they started in December this year, actually, with the games, and then they had the major in January. But these guys scrim. Like scrims are when they play against another team and they play a map rotation of 5 games or 6 games, whatever it is. But they spend like 5 to 8 hours a day doing that. Then they also watch VOD, which is video on demand or whatever, that they can go back and watch what happened in scrims so they can get better and see what they're doing wrong, fix shit. So these guys spend like 10 hours a day playing this game. And then when they get off, or they don't actually get off the game, they go and they play 8s, which is kind of like the pro spot that they all go to. So they'll have custom games, same rule set as the actual game. And then the pros will go in there and they'll just mix up teams with different players from different teams playing together. But it's a chance for them to play, get better, and kind of get to know the other players and how they play, etc. But like it's a real fucking job. Like, the 4 teams that didn't make champs, they didn't, other than the salary that they got from their team, they probably got no prize money, because I don't think any one of those 4 teams made it anywhere in any major. No. So it's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of pressure. But, when you come out on top, that paycheck looks pretty good. And then, go ahead.
No, I'm saying this is just really fascinating that, like you said, this is a real like gig, and people treat it as such. Like you said, 8-hour days, and then on top of that, it's like getting more reps as a football, basketball, hockey, and baseball player, right?
Pretty much.
And you just trying. If you want to be good at this, you got to keep on practicing and do this. Let me ask you this, and I'm just intrigued by this. So the regular season, do they like play the teams virtually? How does that work? Or do they go to a site to play? How does that work?
Well, so they play.
They have they have a map set. So one team will play whatever 6. I think they did 7. If I do believe this time they did 7 matches for each major, and then they did the standings, and they played all of those 7 teams, and of course best of 5 each series. They got 10 points for every series they won. So if they won all 7, they got 70 points, and they of course were a higher seed, everything else.
Okay.
Then that would determine the seedings, and they did that each major, and they would switch the teams up every time. It would be the same team. So sometimes you would have a completely easy bracket with the 4 teams that did not make champs, or you would have the 4 top teams and get drugged the whole time. And then they reset it every time. So every major they had brand new map pools or map sets for each team to play the other teams to play against.
Like I said, this is fascinating to me. I mean, I knew it was something. I didn't know. Like Dan, when you said you was on your way to the championship thing, Call of Duty championship in Raleigh last year, I was like, man, this is like not only the game from people playing the game just regularly, but the tournaments and this being a professional sport, man. E-gaming is definitely what it is. Shout out to all those that make a living from it and do it full time. So let me ask you guys this: where do you see it? Where do you see it going now? Where do you see it going from here? I should say.
That's a good question. So Champs was held in Allen, Texas. Why? Because the CDL Activision didn't want to run it. They didn't want to spend the money. So there's a lot of drama over this from other teams, players, etc., which it really is bullshit at the end of the day. But yeah, it probably had a little impact. That being said, there was 8 other teams that were in the final or in the championship rounds. So LA Guerrillas, Optic, Thieves, Ultra, Surge, Subliners, Heretics, and Faze. Each one of them could have said, "You know what? We're gonna run this for you." Mm-hmm. But none of them stood up, and no one asked to do it, except for Optic. So they had it in Texas. Now you could say, "Hey, it's home event." Not really, because that's not even the event center that they have rented for the next, I think, 2 years. That Hex rented this place so that they always have a place to have a major. So they stepped up, and literally before we got on, I watched the 51-minute video that they had all the players and Karma and PK, their coaches, talking about the championship. And then there was another video that had Hex. It was only like 2 minutes, but where Hex had text messages to like Paige, Riley, and the other people with the inside Optic. It's like, and it was from April. And he's like, we're going to run this event, but it has to be neutral. We're not going to call it the Optic Texas Championships or Major, whatever. It's just going to be the CDL Championship. It's going to remain neutral. Now, that being said, Lackey can attest to this. that it doesn't matter. We were in Raleigh, and they got their ass slammed in the first 2 days. So they didn't make Thursday or Friday.
They were out that Friday because first day.
Yeah. But if you look in the crowd, even on the finals on Sunday, there were still people there, still people wearing Optic gear, but they have the largest following by far, and that's because the Scump, Formal, Crim Six, Karma, Hex, they built the brand, and there's stuff that's outside of the game that they do for content that engages with the fans. So they have the largest fan base. So it doesn't matter if it was in Texas. It doesn't matter if it was in Raleigh. It doesn't matter if it was in California. It doesn't matter if it's in
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. The amount of Optic fans there will outnumber any other team. Instead of bitching about their fans, they need to build their brands to get their fan base up, because that's, at the end of the day, people root for Optic because all the shit that they do and the players that they have, and they promote that, and they promote them, and they put it out there, on a regular basis. So the content, gets people engaged. You get to know the players. They do a bunch of stupid shit. I think the one thing I watched, they were at the Hex quarters, and they were playing like fucking soccer on gaming chairs in the office. But like the shit like that, like to get, they played. Didn't they play paintball in the fucking office too? I think.
I believe so. I mean, they do so many different events, but the bad part is the team that's made the most money during this 4-year span of the Call of Duty League hasn't hosted a single event. They made the most money. They made probably at least $2.5 million. They've won the championship once, and they could have easily hosted it. It's in Atlanta. They could have easily hosted it in Atlanta. They have an arena and everything, and they chose not to do it. It's like Dan said, all these teams had the opportunity to host the event. They made the event as neutral as possible, except for some minor little kinks here and there, having a brick by brick flag, and then they bring out a drum to bring out the team to get the team hyped, because they do a chant for Greenwall, kind of like keep pounding for the Panthers. But every team has an opportunity to host these events, so they can't sit here, and some can do it jointly, like they've done with LA Gorillas and the Thieves a couple of years ago. So these organizations need to man up and do it, or Activision needs to quit being cheap and actually go out here because they make millions of dollars just off of Warzone. So why not sit here and host the event, using that money? Crazy.
Oh, I owe $5. It looks like myself. I was saying, that's crazy that they make this money and they don't sponsor. And so you're saying the reason they don't do it is because they're just being cheap, basically?
I mean, what else are they doing with the money? I mean, you got, like I said, the Atlanta outside this past weekend, which they got top 6, which is unheard of. They lost to the Toronto, the team Dan was talking about with the Draza and Scrappy situation. They finished top 3 in all of them. They finished second once, one at the second year. So I mean, you're making all this money. You're getting endorsements from all these from Beaver headsets and whomever else. Y'all are making plenty of money. You could host an event, especially since Atlanta is a big city. It's not Dallas, but it's still a good city to host the event. And like I said, if you don't want to say you have any kind of complaints about, hey, y'all won because of XYZ, y'all had everything was lined up for you. Like Dan said, the Optic team, the Optic logo, it goes everywhere. It doesn't matter where it is, Saudi Arabia, Japan, it will be there. But the orgs are being cheap. The ones here in Charlotte, the Carolina Ravens, they originally were in London. They're based now in Charlotte since COVID hit. They were supposed to host a Charlotte event in June, and they said y'all either have to host the event or pay for your players to have a venue to stay in, because they were having to do their own thing. They chose to put the players up and cancel the events. Then Activision had to randomly put it on with no fans. Why would you have an event where you can make money selling whatever products, whatever you want, and instead you have no fans there, and you just have it just online only to watch it?
No, they moved that one to Ohio, Columbus, right?
No, that was last year. That was in California, San Bernardino, California this time. But it's the second year in a row they had to do something like that. It's a freaking joke. I mean, you're here to make money, but the Call of Duty League, all the things that they're doing make no sense. Like Dan has said in the past, and whenever we've had our conversations, have all the teams basically based out of Texas doing home events. I mean, you have teams like Minnesota that have hosted their own little events, had the teams fly out to where they're to Minnesota and do the events in front of live crowds just there. You could do the same thing in Texas or wherever, but these organizations that especially have millions of dollars, like Boston hosts tournaments. They're owned by Robert Kraft, but these other organizations that have people with money aren't wanting to host anything because they feel like they're going to lose money. But you have to risk your money at times to make money.
You guys sound like the DA and D Dubs about boxing. So does Call of Duty Esports, do they have some kind of governing commission? How does that work? Or this is just the Wild Wild West?
No, they got a commissioner and all that good stuff, and they have rule sets, and that's the thing. Like a new patch will come out on the actual game, but if they're in the middle of like a segment of the season, so what they tried to do was make this like a traditional sport, right? So you have your 12 teams, and for the like he was saying earlier, you play 7 teams within that time frame over a couple weeks. So you play like twice a week, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think is what they would run them at. So you play Friday, maybe Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, whatever it may be. And then one of those weeks you only play one game. So you have 4 weeks, and then the week after you would have the major. And then they'd seed you according to wins and losses and blah, blah, blah. And that's like kind of that hurts the sport now is all that shit's online. So instead of having more tournaments, they have more online crap. And that's, I don't know. For me, I'd rather see them kind of go back, was it the MLG days where it was, open invite or whatever.
What's MLG?
That was what the league was called before they franchised CWL, that too. Yeah. But it's like, you pay $30 million to get in this league, and then you're playing all your shit online. Nobody's hosting a major. And that's the thing is like Lackey's saying, Toronto will host them, Minnesota will host them, Boston will host them. I think they had one in LA, but for the most part, you got these other teams that are just, they're there, but they always have the worst team because they won't pay anybody. And it's like the Pirates, man. So you got like, Atlanta Faze, that's your Braves. And then like the Gorillas or the Surge, or I'm trying to think who else is that didn't make, like London or Vegas. Carolina, Vegas. That's your Pirates. They've got players on their team that other teams may scoop up if they play well. And that's kind of the unfortunate part is they charge so much money to get in this league, and they really don't promote the league. Like if Activision ran champs, it would have been way less entertaining, way less, intimate. It just would have been a shit show.
So let me ask you this. So I'm just looking and perusing as I'm and asking questions. So basically, they play these championships. It looks like they play them in convention centers. Safe to say, right?
Yeah, the majors, yeah. But it depends on where they play. Because like Toronto, obviously, they got a lot of hockey rinks, and they played in a hockey rink.
They played with the Maple Leafs and
no, it was a smaller venue.
Smaller venue. All right, so they don't. So I'm just trying to get a gauge. So basically, if you're listening, you live in Charlotte, if they host an event, they would do it at the convention center in Charlotte.
Correct.
Okay. Or is Bojangles too big?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you basically playing these Call of Duty esports games championships in like a convention center type, like how I guess they just did in Allen, Texas, which is just north of Dallas. All right. So it just befuddles me though why the teams who they're getting all this money, right? And they have the opportunity to make more money. I don't understand why you just can't lock down a date, call up the convention center of the city that you're in, and run it. But y'all sound like boxing.
Well, a lot of it has to do with though these other teams. Like I was talking earlier about Optic, they do a lot of content stuff.
That's the champions, right?
Yeah, and it's been 7 years since they've been champions, and every year that they don't win champs, everybody says the same shit. Oh, yeah, it's a content org, content org. They're not about winning, and that's not necessarily true. But like the LA Thieves, they've started to do a bit more content, and some of these other top teams are starting to do content because, Optic Gaming wasn't Optic Gaming from the get-go. They were just another team, but they've always done content from the beginning. You can go all the way back to 60-50 and like when Scump was like 16. Yep. And, and what's funny is as what the guys that, me and Lackey would watch, Merc, Scump, Krim, all these guys, they were all like kids living in a big house. And like everybody, like every room, it didn't matter, it might be a living room, but that was somebody's bedroom with a setup. And they would, that's, before Twitch became a thing. And what the hell was the name of Twitch before that?
I do not know.
I cannot, it's something TV, like Jason TV or some shit. But they were all beyond there streaming. And that's when, Scump will do his, trying to go 100-0 or whatever. But that's
Justin TV.
That's it. Justin TV. I knew it was one of those. But like these orgs, they need to invest in their team or in their brand, promote their brand, put content about their brand. Who has the most sponsors in the Call of Duty League, Blackie?
Optic.
Okay. Why is that? Because it always puts something out on YouTube. There's always something. They got Cash App, Jack Links, Buffalo Wild Wings,
Razor,
Jack's, Razor. Yeah, but that's why companies, sponsor them because they get their products out. And, that's the problem with kind of the league is some teams are there just to be there and don't understand that if you promote your brand and get your brand out there and make content and get it out to your fans on a regular basis, that you can build your brand, get more sponsors, and then, hey, guess what? We're going to host a major and we got like 4 sponsors to help us pay for it. Instead of, where it's just your brand and, you got Scuff and Monster because that's the league sponsors and you're not getting much help from them.
So who I'm looking right now. Who's Scump? Is that Optics?
Yes.
Okay, they got 2.79 YouTube subscribers. So they killing it on the YouTube side, getting monetized and getting paid like that.
He's retired and he's got that many.
He has more viewers for champs than the Call of Duty League
on YouTube.
And
I just looked
on YouTube.
Correct.
He would have even more had they kept on Twitch. They moved the streaming platform to YouTube because they want to make some money.
Exclusively.
They had more viewership last year through Twitch than they ever did this year, and would have blown it. They probably would have had close to 500,000 because you had a lot of people doing watch parties. Your Dr. Disrespects, your Tim the Tap Mans.
He's doing one right now.
Hosting.
Yeah, he's probably doing one for the Halo event.
Yeah, and in 3 minutes, it's getting ready to go down.
He's Scump's doing it for the one in Saudi Arabia. He's gonna be streaming that.
Wow.
And I mean, he's the most popular streamer, professional streamer in pro esports ever. And he's the most sought after product. I mean, he is Optic. He is Optic Gaming, 110%.
Let me ask you guys this question.
Biggest guys like him and his playing and everything else. He's just been so popular.
Wow. Let me ask you guys this question. How does Call of Duty compare to other esports in terms of viewership, engagement, and growth? Are they the biggest? I'm assuming they're the biggest, correct?
I've been to 2 other esports. I went to CS:GO, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and then I went to Halo January of last year here in Charlotte, and their viewers are nowhere close to Call of Duty. I don't know about all the other stuff, but those Call of
maybe League of Legends.
Maybe League of Legends.
I am totally fascinated with this, and I'll be in tune with this. I thank you, gentlemen, for this. This is pretty good, and for all those that think that this is not a real thing, there's a lot of money into this, and as Dan alluded to earlier in the show, 8 hours these guys practice. You know what I'm saying? It says something for, oh, they're just playing video games. No, there's a lot of hand-eye coordination. And Dan, you can't cheat on this one, right, Dan?
Oh no, they're on land, bro.
No, they've had cheaters actually in the pro league.
Really? All
Yeah.
right, what they do with the cheaters? They do them like Pete Rose. They get them the hell out of there. They ban for life. What?
Yep.
Really?
And some of them have even changed their gamer names just so everything try to make it back. I mean,
But overall, how do we think about the tournament itself for champs?
such as like how it was.
Yeah, how it went down. Any surprises? Any? I don't know. With Optic
The
making
surprise was Atlanta going top 6 by far, because they were the number one. They've been the number 1 seed every single year going into champs. They've only won it once. They got second the first year, first place the second year, and then to go out top 6 to get upset. I mean, you had a lot of upsets. You had Ultra lost to LA Thieves in the first round. Then you had Atlanta lose to New York and have to play
Ultra
for top 6. And of course, Ultra ended up winning. And then of course, you had the drama with Dashy and Scrappy's girlfriends and Dashy talking trash to him. I mean, you had Dash and Draza. They didn't even shake hands at the very end of the game. They dab each other up. They go around and dab each other up. These two didn't even dab each other up. They basically just said "F you" to each other.
Oh, he was screaming. Did you see Scrappy turn around to his girlfriend, the Draza's girlfriend? I was like, damn. His teammate had, I think it was Kleenex and Gradma, like, come on, fucking dude, let's go.
Yeah.
Quit talking shit.
Well, but, I mean, like you said, it's like wrestling. They're building entertainment. But my thing is that's what draws viewers a lot of times too. So
you have to have some kind of
protagonist
antagonist or some storyline. That's just how it works. I mean, you look, a villain, and I'm just really intrigued by this. You guys got to bring me along for the journey. I'm tapped in now of who's going to be.
Well, I told you to go when they were down in Miami. I said right down the street.
That's probably going to go through too.
Yep,
but
they was at the Broward Convention Center. Correct.
I will agree that Faze, I think when they lost the Subliners 3-2, I'm looking at, so hard point was 250, 206, New York. Faze smacked them around in Search and Destroy 6-2. Then they beat them 3-1 in Control. And then it was 250, 224 New York, and then 6-3 in Search and Destroy New York. And I think that just kind of checked them. And then, like, when they played Ultra, like 250 to 160 in hardpoint on 6-star and 6-star.
Yeah,
and then Rio Search and Destroy, they lost 6-2, and then Control Invasion, they lost 3-2. So Toronto basically clean sweep them. But like I thought like LA kind of the Thieves, they kind of came out and they dispatched Ultra in the first round. Then they played Optic, which was a close game.
Mm-hmm.
Like they beat them 250 to 177 in hardpoint on Karachi. And then they won 6-5 in Search and Destroy. And then it was 3-0. Yeah, they got reverse swept. 3-0 control, 250 to 169. And I will say this about Optic. Like, and after watching the video that they had with the players and Karma and JP, they didn't Major 4, they didn't use the strats for Search and Destroy because they didn't want to tip off other teams. So they kept that close to the vest, and they went 0-12 in that bracket.
Sorry to cut you off, Dan, but so Kevin, what you don't realize is the Major 3, Optic dominated, ran through the whole thing, destroyed everybody. Very next one, they won the first match against Miami, and then went on to lose the next 6, were the 12 seeds, so first to last, and got eliminated first bracket. And then, but the thing is, like you just said, why am I going to show you my cards, show you my strats right before the big event at the end of the year?
Why
so then they show up and they actually went off and did their strats and did things. They're like, they didn't do the whole time. So, I mean, it's all about, it's a chess game.
Right.
So, but they went from, and that was the other drama is that they had, hey, it's champs. They're the best team. They're last. So what's going to happen? They're going to get eliminated early, which somebody I know, Dan, was sitting there saying they're going to go 0-2 and be out of the tournament. All it took
what happened when we went to Charlotte? What happened when we went to Raleigh? Same fucking thing. We went to watch them.
And okay. Optic Gaming, Dallas, Optic, Texas, whatever you want to call them. They are basically like Dallas Cowboys to a degree of the esports. They're the most popular team. They're the most one of the most decorative teams of all time. Just playership. I'm not gonna say championship wise. They don't have that many. There's not a lot of teams that have won multiple championships. So
the dynasty that they walked out to.
They're also one of the most hated organizations as well. So, but their fan base is just unreal. Like everywhere you go, you're gonna have fans there. Just like Pittsburgh, just like Dallas, just all those teams. They are the team that will have all fans there at all times.
Man, this is so intriguing. Why is that team so good? Why is Optic so good? How come they're industry standard? What makes them so good? Before we get out of here,
because that's what the owner Hector wants. He finds the best. He wants the best, and he doesn't want them to make excuses. He's in one of the videos. He went up to him and told him, "I don't want to see any of this. Hey, we had bad servers. That's why we lost this match, or XYZ. Go out here." He wants them to just do what they got to do. I mean, he spends the money to get the players there. They picked up Pred, who's the best player from Seattle, one of the best SMGs last year in MW2. Mm-hmm. They picked up Kenny, who just won the championship 2 years ago with LA Thieves, who he's still a young guy. He's the oldest guy on the team. I think he's only 23, maybe 24. But he's got the gaming knowledge and he holds them in check. Like Dan was trying to say earlier in the years, he will be the one to keep them in check when it comes to doing everything and sticking to the game plan, showing up for practice. But I mean, they're all about, of course, creating content. But of course, their main thing is they want to win every time, and they'll spend the money to do it.
Wow. Like I said, I am blown away. And this pretty much e-gaming and the esports started about when? In the early
2006, 7, I think it was, like where Call of Duty.
Okay.
Because I know Hex always talks about 2006, 7, 8, somewhere in there, and even TPC.
Yeah, somewhere right around there is when the first.
He's been playing for that long.
Yeah, but I think they used to just play for what $10,000 for the championships. That was the grand prize back then.
Yeah, there was no money.
Yeah, there's no money in the sport, and now you're playing for they won $800,000 or something like that.
But I will say this, rewatching, because I purposely didn't watch the grand finals because I didn't want to, because every time I watch, they lose, and I get pissed off. So I figure I'll watch it afterwards. But there was a couple instances that could have went either way, like throughout this tournament for Optic. And like they lost the first search and destroy 6-5, and but like they lost, or no, they won that one 6-5 in the final, and then they lost 3-1 in control, which is they said was their best control map. And the fact that they came out in Rio and stomped them by 120, that was it. Like once they beat them and made it 3-1, that game was over. And so to listen to them talk about like the weekend and how things went and all that stuff, like even what was it, Shotzi, he's like, yo, we got there Sunday, you know, I'm trying to think who was there first. And then it was like Damon was already on, Karma was already on his computer, and he's over there and he goes, and he's watching VOD of New York, and he's like, okay, Kismet goes here, so-and-so goes here, so like they already knew New York's tendencies and strats, and they just went at them. And that was a good series, but it was good to see like Dashy's got a lot of shit over the years of being selfish and blah, blah, blah. He didn't play great, but man, he had a clutch in the one S&D. I think it was 2v1, and he took out, I forget who it was, by the tank, and then he dropped the bomb, snuck in the building, and took out Cell. But they each had their moments where they shined and struggled. Because the one map, I think Shotzi was it almost a 3.0 KD, professional player, and I think he was like 34 and 14 or something like that. It was just absolutely insane.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up. This was enjoyable. We said we was going to do 30 minutes. We wound up doing an hour, and definitely we're going to do this again. A lot of information. Like I said, I didn't know. I'm a whole lot more educated about esports and how it is. And Call of Duty, y'all look like y'all the baddest thing in the land when it comes to all this. I just want y'all to get y'all stuff together so y'all can make more money and stop being cheap and stop over all the politics and all the trash and stuff like that. We'll have parting shots. I'm gonna give it to VLAC. Hey man, VLAC, thank you again, my brother, for chiming in, man, and coming through. See, look at that. I put Optic. They color green. Don't they wear green, stuff like that. Look at that. See, I'm educated. Look at that. VLAC, what you got to say? Parting shots before we get out of here, my brother.
So much. I appreciate y'all letting me come on. I enjoy it. I mean, if you get a chance to go and actually see it, go down there. It's fun to watch the games. They have a lot of interaction with the players and the fan bases. They actually interact with the fans, kind of similar like NHRA. So you buy a ticket, you actually kind of have like a pit pass. So, I mean, it's really cool if you get a chance to go out there and, you know, just try it. I mean, you can go out there one day and just do it, but you got to get you out there next time, Kevin.
Yeah. Hey, if you've never been into NHRA, because I have been, ain't too much down here where I'm at now, but when I used to live up there where those guys are at, I went to quite a few up there in Concord, and hey, that's fun things too. But yeah, I'm definitely next time. I'm going with wherever you guys is going. I'm definitely going because I want to see this. I'm so intrigued. I like competition, and hey, this is competition for real. Dan, what you got before we go?
Well, not too much. Yes, appreciate Lackey coming on, spreading the knowledge. Just a quick story. When we went to Raleigh, we were watching the finals, and I was kind of kicked back to my seat. You know, the kid sitting beside me goes, "Hey, man, you like this shit?" I was like, "Yeah, bro, I play. I like this shit." And then it dawned on me that he thought I was this fucker's kid or dad. I'm like,
I definitely would have gotten these good looks.
Yeah, I said, "You disrespectful piece of," you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was classic. I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I play this game. You know, I enjoy this. Why else would I be here? I didn't bring my 12-year-old to come with me."
So be like, Dan was your chaperone for the weekend.
But I will say, they still whatever happens. But Merc and Maven, they have to still announce these games next year. By far the best broadcast duo that they have going in the Call of Duty League. I know this is year to year with them, so I'm putting in my 2 cents to make sure they're back next year.
Well, your 2 cents will definitely go out into the world. Look for this episode here coming out Saturday morning when you guys get it. It'll be Saturday morning. Well, listen, we're going to get out of here. Hey, on behalf of myself, I'm Kevin O'Warren, the host and moderator for Dan K. The hockey dude, but he's the Call of Duty dude. I don't know if they went right, but whatever. For VLAC, thanks again, my brother, for coming through, man. And talking some Call of Duty, some esports, man. Yo, this is the Sports Chasers podcast. Y'all be good, be great. Hey, look for the DA and for D-Dubs to talk about boxing this weekend whenever they do it. I'm pretty sure they got some tales to tell also, man. Y'all be good, be great, man. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Sports Chasers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms and connect with us on all social media channels for exclusive content and updates. We'd also love for you to join the conversation, share your thoughts, and become part of the Sports Chasers community. And remember to tune in next time for some more real sports talk. Until then, stay frosty.